Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I am excited to share with you in this video the sleep restriction method for treating insomnia. Using this method, you will be able to treat insomnia naturally without taking any sleeping pills. If you watched previous videos, that is fine, that is excellent. If you didn't watch previous videos, that is just fine because this video is going to be self-contained. You do not need to have seen the previous videos to understand what I'm going to explain today. So in this video, we are going to discuss two things. The first thing that we are going to discuss is how to keep a sleep log. And the second thing that we will discuss in this video is how to apply the sleep restriction method to treat insomnia. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please give this video a thumbs up and please hit the bell button to get notification about future videos on this channel. So let us discuss how to fill out a sleep log. I will be discussing how I slept between Monday and Tuesday, August 24th, August 25th. So the Excel file that I'm using here is linked down below. You are welcome to download that file to use it for logging your own sleep. You're welcome to also create your own file or find an app online. On Monday, August 24th, I took one nap that was about 1 hour long, so it's 60 minutes. I went to bed at 11:15 and it took me about 10 minutes to fall asleep. I did wake up twice during the night. The first awakening was 20 minutes and the second awakening was 10 minutes. So 20 plus 10, that's gonna give me 30 minutes. The time of the final awakening was actually about 9:15. And I stayed in bed for about 5 minutes before I got out of bed. Actually, if I think about it, I think I woke up at 9 a.m. And I stayed in bed for 5 minutes before I got out of bed. Now I have to compute how many hours passed between I went to bed and got out of bed. So that's the time that passed between A and E plus F. So let's see, what is the row A? In row A, I have the time when I went to bed, and that's 11:15. The row E is the time when I woke up, it's 9 a.m. And the row F is how long I stayed in bed. So between 11:15 and 9 a.m., that was 9 hours and 45 minutes. And I want this in hours, so I'm dividing 45 by 60. And then I stayed 5 additional minutes in bed. So if I want all of that in hours, I get 9.83 hours. So I stayed awake 0.75 hours. My total time asleep was 9.08 hours, and my sleep efficiency was 92.37%. This is actually very good sleep efficiency, and the last 3 numbers were computed in the file automatically. If you notice, I didn't have to do anything to compute these numbers. It's important that you do not alter those cells in Excel. If you do happen to alter them, then you may want to download the Excel file all over again from my website to make sure that these computations are done correctly. So again, my sleep efficiency on Tuesday, August 25th was 92.37%. It's not a big deal if your sleep efficiency was not as high. The whole purpose of this training is to improve it. So the average duration of sleep for me over the week was 8.01 hours. This would be including naps. If I were to not include naps, then the average duration of sleep would be 7.85 hours. And the average sleep efficiency over the last week for me was 90.96%, which is actually very good. And let us notice here that the last three numbers, the average duration of sleep in one day, including naps, the average duration of sleep in one day, not including naps, and the sleep efficiency, each one of those three numbers is computed automatically in the Excel file. And this is how you can keep a sleep log. It's not that difficult, right? Just in case you still have any questions about how to keep a sleep log, please drop them down below in the comments section. Let us now talk about the method of sleep restriction. So the main idea of the method of sleep restriction is the idea of sleep drive. So the sleep drive is a notion, it's a concept that is similar to the concept of sex drive. So each time we take a nap or we go to bed and we sleep, we decrease our sleep drive. If we do exercise during the day and we do activities during the day, this way we increase our sleep drive. If we take caffeine, we decrease our sleep drive. So the idea is that if we want to sleep well at night, we have to build up this sleep drive so that we sleep well during the night, so that we are sleepy. So this is why we want to limit how many naps and how long the naps are during the day. So the idea of sleep restriction, if we want to really apply it, it means that we should not be taking more than one nap within a 24-hour period, and that nap should not be more than 20 minutes long. The second thing that we want to do when we apply the sleep restriction method is that we only allow ourselves to sleep during a 24-hour period as many hours as was on average that we actually were able to sleep during last week. So it sounds like sleep restriction. In the title there is the word restriction, but in the reality we are not going to be restricting our sleep. We will be sleeping just as much as we were sleeping last week, as we have been recording. The idea is that we are not going to be trying to sleep longer than we were able to a week before. That's going to help to increase our sleep efficiency. So if we do use the method of sleep restriction, we are going to be able to increase our sleep efficiency to 90% or higher, and that would be the goal. So you may ask, well, so over the last week I only slept 4 hours per 24-hour period on average, and that's clearly not enough. Why are you telling me that this is going to be a good idea? So don't worry, over the first week of sleep restriction you will indeed be sleeping only 4 hours within one 24-hour period. That's the idea. But then if your sleep efficiency is 90% or higher over the next week, then you can increase the duration of your sleep in one day to 4 hours and 15 minutes. And so you can increase how long you sleep during a day, during a 24-hour period, in 15-minute increments until you get to the point that you're getting a healthy amount of sleep. So if you do want to implement this sleep restriction method over the next week, then what you need to do is you need to look at your sleep log and you need to see how long on average you have been sleeping during a 24-hour period last week. So suppose if that was only 4 hours, then you make a sleep schedule. So you decide when you're going to go to bed. So for example, if you decide that you're going to go to bed at midnight, then your waking up time would be at 4 a.m. because you will only be sleeping 4 hours in a 24-hour period. I know that sounds tough, but think about it. That's how much you have been sleeping last week. So it's nothing worse than last week. You're just going to be sleeping those 4 hours in one batch. You're not going to be tossing in bed and laying in bed waiting until you're able to fall asleep. If you want to go to bed at 11 p.m., then you will have to wake up at 3 a.m. So that's the idea, and then you can take a nap during the day, but it should not be longer than 20 minutes. Now, When I did this sleep restriction method, it was the hardest and the toughest week in the cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia program for me. But I tell you, it was so effective for me. It really was a very effective step. And after I have implemented the sleep restriction method, I was able to increase the duration of my sleep by 15 minutes every week. And I was able to bring the duration of my sleep in a 24-hour period to a healthy amount of sleep every day. So I really encourage you to try to give it a shot. You will be a little bit more tired next week, so just give yourself some grace there. Even though my sleep efficiency is at 90% or higher, I will still be doing sleep restriction method in the sense that I'm going to try to go to bed at the very same time every night and to wake up at the very same time in the morning, because I have not been really consistent about that. And if you're getting a little bit of cold feet, what you can do is that you can implement something a little bit less restrictive over the next week. You can decide when you want to go to bed and when you're going to wake up. This is called sleep hygiene. And then you can continue to track how long you have been able to sleep over the next week. And then depending on what your sleep efficiency is going to be, you might decide if you may want to implement the sleep restriction not this coming week, but the week after. And especially if you didn't log your sleep over the last week, then it's probably not a good idea to implement the sleep restriction this week. You may want to take some time to record how well you have been able to sleep before you implement the sleep restriction. Now, if you have not watched the videos 1, 2, and 3 in this 6-week challenge to improve your sleep, you might want to do that too, and you might want to implement that advice that is in those other videos before you do sleep restriction. The reason for that is that if you want to implement the advice that is provided in those videos that I have just mentioned, and if you do so, it may help you to sleep more during the night, and then your sleep restriction is not going to be quite as severe as it would have been if you didn't implement all of those other methods and techniques. So you probably want to do all of the other things before you do sleep restriction, so that you pull all of the stops and to increase the duration of your sleep before you go to this method of sleep restriction. I hope you like this video. Please give it thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell if you want to know when the next video comes out. And I will check in with you about the improvement of your sleep in 1 week. Thanks and have a nice day. Bye.